Welcome back to RPTV Weekly News. I'm Kedar, and joining me today is Lawrence and Fred. Together we bring you updates on stories that directly impact Regent Park and surrounding areas.
In this episode, we delve into the latest news from April 23rd to April 29th. Stay tuned for the latest updates and insights affecting our community. Report of the Regent Park Social Development Plan Stakeholders Meeting on April 25th. Councillor Moise addresses Regent Park STP's future. Regent Park Café extends operations for another 3 months. Regent Park joins Toronto's spring cleanup, rain or shine. MPP Kristyn Wong-Tam advocates build homes for people, not profit, amid housing crisis. Events and jobs in Regent Park community.
Report of the Regent Park Social Development Plan Stakeholders Table Meeting on April the 25th. The Regent Park Social Development Plan SDP Stakeholders Table convened for its quarterly meeting, marking a pivotal moment in the ongoing efforts to enhance the social fabric of the neighborhood. The Stakeholders Table, the principal decisions-making body responsible for executing the SDP, serves as a platform for collaboration and dialogue amongst a diverse array of stakeholders, comprising representatives from Market and Toronto Community Housing Corporation TCHC residents, agencies, grassroots groups, faith organizations, businesses, TCHC, and its development partners, the City of Toronto, and elected officials. The table embodies a commitment to inclusive governance. The working committees of the SDP are communications, community building, safety, employment and economic development, and evaluation and benchmark. At the heart of the meeting was the opportunity for stakeholders to engage in a hybrid and in-person discussion held at the community living room in Daniel Spectrum, as well as via live streaming on Zoom, ensuring accessibility for all Regent Park residents. This gathering not only provided insight into the progress of the SDP Working Committee, but also invited residents to voice their aspirations for the community's future. The meeting was chaired by Walid Kongali Ali and Ines Garcia, both esteemed residents of the neighborhood. The session commenced with a formal land acknowledgement, followed by an overview of the SDP's mission and background. The primary agenda item addressed the pressing need for the release of the SDP funding allocated by the City of Toronto for 2024. Stakeholders advocated for a timely disbursement to support grassroots initiatives and community organizations operating within the Regent Park community. Central to this motion was the imperative to involve residents in determining funding allocation.
Or the proposal that's been put forward is that the Regent Park Stakeholders Table request the release of the City Council approved SDP funds for 2024 by the City of Toronto for SDP priorities and action plans.
During the discussion, Richard Kerwin, a community development officer for the City of Toronto, clarified misconceptions surrounding funding withholding and explaining the ongoing SDP refresh process.
We're not holding back money. I just want that to be known. There's two pots of money here. There's a $50K, which is City of Toronto's operating budget for the SDP, and there's the money that is in this motion. There is a refresh that is going on. Some people not so happy with it, some people happy with it. The refresh process is almost done. We've had consultants have talked to almost, I think it's 50 or 60 community members. They've had one-on-ones with community members. They've talked to agencies. They've talked to key community stakeholders within the community. They've talked to a multitude of different people to really understand what the residents of Regent Park want and how they want to support that. SDP members have been heavily involved in that. We have a refresh group that's been heavily involved. A bunch of members in this room have been, so this is how we've kind of looked to mitigate some of those rifts and within the SDP. So funding is not on hold. I think we should go ahead with the motion and let it go through. We're meeting next week with the community funding, so we don't actually do it, it's community funding who does it. We're meeting next week to start to look at a timeline for when that will be released.
Following robust deliberations, the motion garnered majority consensus, underscoring the unified commitment to advancing community priorities. Subsequently, the agenda transitioned to a presentation by Caitlin Ferreira, Community Development Specialist at the Yonge Street Mission, on the SDP Evaluations and Benchmarks Committee's recent endeavors.
Okay, so first, wow, survey's complete. I really wanted to start this off on a nice note, a high note. So the common questions surveys are the questions that are about the SDP. For example, I feel respected in the SDP. I feel like I understand the goals of the SDP. Questions like that, not specific to your working group or committee. So as you see, in 2022, for the whole year, we got 13 responses. It's okay. The first round of 2023, we already improved and got 24 responses. And then in the second round of 2023, we got 44. So already you can see a huge improvement in our engagement with data collection. I expect this year for you all to blow me out of the water and give me way more responses than 44. As of a couple of hours ago, our survey for the general SDP questions is live. You'll see around the building QR codes that say, scan me to answer the common questions survey. Please scan it. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, we'll send out an email blast with the link instead. You're able to save and come back to it if you don't want to answer it all at once. And you can answer questions not just about the SDP as a whole, but also you can answer specific questions about your working groups and committees. So I'll check off, I'm part of evaluations, I'm part of planning, and I can answer questions for those committees as well. Next, attendance data. Why do we need it? So some groups already collect attendance, some don't. We as a committee are requesting that you begin doing so. You don't have to collect people's full names if they don't want that. If they don't even want their names at all, that's okay. You can just put down if someone is a market resident, a TCH resident, a city staff, an agency staff, because we're really interested in who is engaging with the SDP. What's the composition? Who is involved and why? If we can track changes in attendance, we can see, events where we have a celebration, we get way more market residents. Or events where we give out really cool prizes, we see lots of agency because they think prizes are swell. We want to be able to identify these differences so we can repeat the good. Like if we say, hey, when I host a meeting Wednesday at 7 p.m. and I have cake and Deanies there, we have 50 people, I'm going to do that all year. Next slide, please. Here's an example of some attendance data. Ooh. So this is the planning committee for this year. And by looking at this data, we can say, between January and November, approximately 14.5 people attended each meeting. This is our breakdown, 27% TCH residents, 16.8% market residents, and 49% agency and staff. So we can say, we like having agency and staff there, but we really want to try and have more residents. What meetings did we have the most residents, and what can we replicate from those meetings to increase their attendance again? So some things we learned about the SDP in general. For those of you who are fans and friends of the Times framework that YSM uses, there's a couple of different parameters we look at. The first is the multi-stakeholder collaborative, which really what the SDP is. And it's all about supporting stronger partnerships and collaboration within the community, because we're really trying to have transformative change, not just, some change that lasts for a little bit, but deep entrenched change. We saw throughout the year that was about the same. We're doing pretty good. We didn't make huge strides. Where we did make huge strides, and I know Waleed is going to like this, is in social cohesion. So in the social cohesion diversity line, we improved 20% last year, which is like a whole point. And in general social cohesion, we improved by 8%. And this is nice because we're seeing not only an increased attendance, but a diversified attendance. It's not just, boring agency people like me, it's people like everyone in this room. And last is our community activation to lead change. So now it's not just, residents attending things, it's residents leading the charge. That was about the same throughout the year, but that's a huge goal for this year, to have residents leading the charge. Now, some things about the working groups. What did we learn about you? So these are some response summaries from round 2, so the second half of the year. You were all doing fabulous. So Times is rated on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 being, in need of improvement and 5 being super stellar. And for the most part, all the groups are high 4s. So like planning committee, social cohesion, 4.8. Community building, social cohesion, 4.6. All these groups, have incredibly high numbers in those different RPSN, super high, killing it. All the different groups are doing great on the multi-stakeholder collaborative, social cohesion, and community activation to lead change lines. Nothing is at a 5, which is okay, practice makes perfect. So much has been accomplished already, but there's still lots of room to continue this great work this year and beyond.
The meeting then continued into a strategic planning engagement activity led by Regent Park resident Michael Rosenberg, fostering meaningful dialogue and collaboration among working group co-chairs.
We want to check whether we're effective, because that's something that requires a little bit more of the strategy part. You want to actually be thinking about not just what you think you need to do, but does it work? Is there something we might need to know to figure out whether we're doing the right things? So in order to do that, you look at the external situation as well, and you try to go through a process, and we'll have some meetings scheduled in May and June so that people can look at what's been happening and figure out, well, what is the solution to some of these issues? I think we've actually improved a lot over the last 6 months without anybody necessarily realizing it. There's been a huge decline in conflict already, but maybe there's other things we need to do. So basically, the reasons for it are to be strategic, to be practical, to figure out partnerships and roles, and to work out something for about 3 to 5 years. And so those steps to do: community engagement, which we're doing today, but there will also be other meetings to come to. Review, as I said, review the situation, both internally, evaluation, which we just heard from, analysis, which is what I was talking about, to look at those internal and external situations and try to figure out something that's going to really help. The result of that is to answer some of the big questions: direction, vision, priorities, goals. It doesn't have to be a complete plan of detailed steps, because we have 5 years to figure that out. But these big categories is what you hope to come up with by the end of the strategic plan process, and including, as necessary, any review of the SDP workings and structure. I think if we can actually just come up with the final terms of reference by the end of this process, we'll be satisfied with that, but any other issues that come up about process as well.
In a dynamic conclusion, Adonis Huggins from Regent Park Focus Media outlined an engagement initiative encouraging attendees to interact with working group members and explore avenues for active participation. This interactive approach aimed to foster community engagement and ensure diverse voices were heard in shaping Regent Park's social development trajectory.
Today is the first activity of our strategic plan, which, by the way, we're actually doing it in consultation in a way with the refresh that's going on. So the city is leading a refresh process with the consultants, but we are doing the process as well with the community. And hopefully both of those things are going to be talking to each other about where we're going to go. But today is our activity that we like to do. We heard about the working groups. Now, I'm not sure how many of you here have been involved with the working groups, but I'm nearly sure that all of you had been involved with the activity of one or more of the working groups. And I'm going to try to prove that today. Essentially, there are 4 working groups. There is communication. And the goal of communication is to improve communication in the neighborhood and about the SDP. There is safety, the Regent Park Safety Network. And the goal of the safety network is to improve safety in the community. There is a community building working group. And the goal of the community building working group is to improve community spaces and recreation programs in the community. And then there is the goal of the employment and economic, employment and what's the word? And economic development. And that's to improve employment opportunities in the neighborhood. So those are very simple ways to understand what the SDP is all about. And today, what we like to do, we have arranged around the room a list of activities and accomplishments that each of the working groups have done to meet their goals.
A list of SDP accomplishments were presented to the stakeholders table for members to reflect on. Regent Park Safety Networking Group accomplishments include monthly and quarterly meetings with TPS/NCO, distributed 2018 Safety Action Plan, conducted certificate training courses, participated in safety audits, held annual safety milestone celebrations. Employment and Economic Development EED Working Group accomplishments include monthly meetings, developed employment research report, implemented Workforce Integrator Project, ran entrepreneurial pathway projects, launched Café pop-up project. Community Building Working Group accomplishments include monthly meetings, organized community festivals, produced community space needs report, improved access to recreational space, supported various community events. Communications Working Group accomplishments include monthly and quarterly meetings, launched Regent Park monthly newsletter, ran Regent Park TV project, conducted SDP promotions project, supported Hello Neighbor app and Regent Park Social, established Regent Park Tech Library. In conclusion, the April 25th, 2024 Regent Park Social Development Plan, the SDP Stakeholders Table meeting, showcased the community's commitment to inclusive governance and collaborative decision-making. Key discussions focused on fund allocation and the progress of vital initiatives, highlighting achievements in safety, employment, economic development, and community building.
Councillor Moise addresses Regent Park SCP's future. City Councillor Moise recently voiced concerns about the future of the Regent Park Social Development Plan during an interview with RPTV at his constituency office on 329 Parliament Street. Moise highlighted issues regarding the accountability and effectiveness of the SDP's allocated funds over the past 5 years, totaling $2.5 million. While acknowledging the positive contributions of various organizations in addressing community issues, he stressed the necessity for clear metrics and enhanced accountability measures for future SDP initiatives.
Well, the Social Development Plan, as you know, has been it's a 5-year plan of $2.5 million over the last 5 years. And so I know that it has caused some public good, but the initial plan was for it to be in existence for 5 years, right, at a cost of $2.5 million. Some of the issues that community have said to myself and to TCHC and city leadership is that sometimes we don't know if the money was well spent, the accountability of those funds, the measures, metrics, was it used in the way that it was meant to be used? Those are all the things that we've been asking and trying to figure out. We've been very fortunate in Regent Park in that we've had various organizations helping to alleviate some of the issues and problems we've had in this area. I know I've been working with the local schools, Dixon Hall, Mothers of Peace, and many other organizations. My state office actually is located in Regent Park, and my staff is on the ground every day working in Regent Park. So it's not just a one-size-fit-all. It really has taken a village. It has taken many organizations and groups to actually help alleviate some of the issues we've had here in Regent Park. So stating that it's only the SDP that has helped alleviate the problems is not accurate at all. And so we are not sure if the SDP will be renewed. And if it is going to be renewed, we have to make sure we have the right metrics in place to make sure that it is used in the way that it's meant to be used and with more accountability.
The SDP, focusing on safety, employment and economic development, community building, and communication, faces a refreshed plan after the city launched a survey in April 2024 to engage community members actively in shaping the neighborhood's sustainable growth amidst its transition from a solely social housing community to a mixed-income one. The consultations aim to maintain social inclusion and cohesion, ensuring that the benefits of revitalization extend to all residents.
Regent Park Café extends operations for another 3 months. Regent Park Café, situated within Daniel Spectrum, extends its operations for 3 more months, following a successful launch earlier this year. Since opening in February of 2024, it has provided breakfast, lunch, and dinner, embracing cultural sensitivity and offering an inclusive dining experience. Funded by the Economic Development Working Group of the SDP. The cafe exemplifies the community's commitment to increasing sustainability employment. Sales have been impressive, with February reaching $3,000, March $4,500, and April $4,000. In a recent interview with Ines Garcia, owner of Garcia Eats, one of the entrepreneur members of the Cafe Pop-Up Project, offering Ecuadorian empanadas, she expressed her gratitude for the extension of the Regent Park Cafe's operations. She emphasized the positive reception from clients and the importance of the continued support for the cafe's success. Garcia remains very optimistic about the cafe's future prospects, highlighting its successes so far and her enthusiasm as a people person who enjoys interacting with customers. Now let's hear what Ines Garcia has to say.
Hi, my name is Ines Garcia. I live in Regent Park for 33 years. Just started an entrepreneur here in the Daniel Spectrum. Started a month ago. Today is the 4th week it started, and it's actually been going very well. So hopefully this will go all year round because it's a trial for 3 months. But it's been going such a huge success that hopefully it will be throughout the whole year. I have my special empanadas, chicken, beef, veggie, and plus I do shrimp and cheese, drinks, and other goodies. And then we have food that the ladies sell too. Right now they're selling their Ramadan box because right now they're going to the Ramadan. It's different. They do different lunch or dinner. This comes through the social development plan of the employment through Gail and Ishmael, through NRPNA too, that decided to have the entrepreneurs of the community to have something so that way to start for the future, to how we go about the slowly of training us. I would like to run my own business. I've been talking to Tridel to see for a space of doing this like an everyday thing. Like right now I'm here every day doing the empanadas. I literally get up at 3:30 a.m. so it's fresh. And sometimes I'm here to 8 o'clock, and continue the next day, the same thing, wake up at 3:30 a.m. I have been literally like selling my empanadas. I've been advertising a lot. I have customers from Richmond Hill and far away from here coming to pick up and stuff. So, because some people, they follow me on Instagram and they pre-order and they come and pick it up here, or they'll pick it up at my house. I know with Daniels Corporation there is new business, but they're they're pricey. So it's not catering, I don't know, my opinion, it's not catered to us, it's catered to private owners. So I'm a pusher, I'm a go-getter. So I go, if I want something, I'm putting in Instagram, I'm telling everyone. So no, I'm pushing myself towards not go there, come over here. So it's from every walks of life. But I have met many Latinos that I didn't think that they would live here in Regent. So they have been coming a lot too for the empanadas and other people from other cultures buying empanadas. Well, like I said, I'm a pusher. I make myself noticeable. If I want to sell my stuff, I have to promote or word of mouth, right? Because they will not know if I don't promote myself with the empanadas. Like even just being here, not people not knowing. A lot of people don't have Instagram or like stuff like that. So it works a lot with a word of mouth. So a lot of people are still old school. Living here for 33 years with the old Regent Park, and it will always be Regent Park, no matter what people say. It's a new Regent Park. It's the same. It's Regent Park. North and south. I used to live in the north, right on Gerard and Parliament. Now I'm in the south of Regent. There's a lot of changes, huge change, where it is an impact of. Don't get me wrong. People that live in condos and stuff, it's wonderful, but there's still a lot of challenges that it needs to be improved. It's wonderful, but there's work to be done. It's member of the communities that have been doing that, of supporting and giving those structures to residents of the community to support them and give that the knowledge that it's needed, right? Because no, I mean, they get city funds to the social development plan, but sometimes people are scared to take that jump or the risk because it's a give and take. If we don't take that risk, there's days that you could sell, there's days that you don't sell. So people get discouraged, and they should not get discouraged. Like me, I have empanadas. I'm not going home until I sell everything. I know that Gail and Ishmael has been talking to Farid regarding about with our PNA about the extension. They gave us 1 more month of extension to the end of May, and then they're going to talk again regarding to go further. Hopefully, this will go all year round. For me, it's great because I'm here all the time.
Regent Park joins Toronto's spring cleanup, rain or shine. Residents of Regent Park showcased their community pride during a neighborhood cleanup organized by the Friends of Regent Park as part of Toronto's annual spring cleanup from April 19th to 22nd. Residents and volunteers, including special guest MPP Toronto Centre Kristyn Wong-Tam, gathered at the Big Park on Saturday, April 20th, ready to make a difference, rain or shine. MPP Kristyn Wong-Tam expressed her gratitude on X, stating that the rain and snow didn't stop us from helping out at various community cleanups in Toronto Centre. Supported by organizations like Filipinos in Regent Park Group, Park People, and Live Green Toronto. Volunteers armed themselves with gloves and garbage bags, showcasing their dedication to keeping their neighborhood clean and beautiful. The event's success was captured in vibrant photos shared by participants, showing the community's unity and determination to make a positive impact.
MPP Kristyn Wong-Tam advocates build homes for people, not profit, amid housing crises. In the midst of the housing crisis, gripping not just Toronto Centre, but the entirety of Ontario, MPP Kristyn Wong-Tam has taken a resolute stance on the legislature, championing the cause of build homes for people and not for profit. With the affordable housing emergency hitting a fever pitch, Wong-Tam addresses the pressing issue head on, shedding light on the dire situations faced by many tenants in Toronto Centre. Demo evictions, precarious housing situations, and soaring rents loom large over countless individuals, underscoring a systemic problem that pervades both the city and the province at large. At the heart of Wong-Tam's advocacy lies a call for the Ontario government to commit to constructing deeply affordable, purpose-built rental homes, a task she deems essential and one that private sectors is unwilling to undertake due to its focus on generating shareholder wealth rather than addressing public housing needs. Wong-Tam and the official opposition NDP have tabled a motion urging the government to take decisive action in increasing the supply of affordable and not-profit market housing.
I stand before you representing Toronto Centre, a vibrant community deeply impacted by the housing crisis that we are debating today. In Toronto Centre, and as is in many parts of our province, the dream of affordable housing is slipping away. Our constituents face ever-increasing rents, limited housing supply options, and a specter of demo evictions. Many members of this House understand the housing crisis through headlines. Some of you have had your own personal experience of living underhoused and perhaps even living with homelessness. My constituents in Toronto Centre understand the housing crisis from that particular lens through lived experience. The motion before us today calls upon the Government of Ontario to take decisive action to increase the supply of affordable and non-market housing, Speaker. This is not merely a request, but it is an urgent necessity backed by the devastating statistics and lived experiences of many in our communities today. The motion asks the government to make a choice. Is housing fundamentally a human right, or is it simply a private asset, a mere commodity? And if you accept that housing is a human right, Speaker, the government has to step up and start putting shovels into the ground to build housing for people and not just for profit. In Toronto Centre, we've seen the impact of policies where we are pursuing the free market forces and exclusively to that, and that is not palatable. That cannot be contained, and it cannot be sustained, I should say. From the church in Wellesley Village to St. Jamestown to Regent Park, all of it is being threatened by speculative pressures and a lack of investment in non-market housing. My constituents are seeing rising rents everywhere, and we're also seeing our small businesses struggle to stay on those main streets, which we know are absolutely critical to building vibrant and inclusive communities. Ontario's housing crisis is at a breaking point, and we can't afford to continue to waste time. But how did we get here? Because it wasn't simply overnight. The housing crisis feels very complex, and the answer yet is somewhat simple. It's a lack of leadership and political will. Under the Conservative leadership, we've seen this government waste time in addressing the housing crisis, and yet despite press releases, photo ops, and other opportunities where the government gets in front of the camera to talk about their good work, we are not seeing the outcome, Speaker, and that is why housing starts have fallen by 7%. The government is not on track to meet their housing target of 1.5 homes by 2031. That is just a mere 7 years away. Across the country in British Columbia, we see a different story unfold. And it is a story where you have a government, an NDP government, that is putting people first. And this NDP government is seeing their housing starts go up by 11%. So what is the NDP BC government doing right? And how are they changing the storyline there? What they're doing, largely, has been inspired by Ontario's own Affordable Housing Task Force. They're implementing the same recommendations that this government's task force asked them to implement as of 2 years ago. The NDP government in British Columbia is legalizing more affordable housing options, such as semis, townhomes, multiplex apartments in many neighborhoods. They are also designing and pre-approved housing designs so the homes can just be built very quickly. You're basically pulling development permits, and they're actually designating areas as of right. Of course, we're also seeing that They're also changing the building design as well as the building materiality, and all of this is making things move a lot faster, which is exactly what we need to do here, Speaker, in Ontario, is to be able to take all of those good ideas and scale it up as quickly as possible and export it to every single corner of our province. BC now builds 2.5 times more housing than Ontario, and that's when it's adjusted for size. And we know that BC is now spurring on the construction of a rate of 150% more than we are in Ontario. So all that talk about making sure that workers, construction workers, get to their work sites is all talk if we don't have housing to build. And it's important also, Speaker, to know that this government has failed to meet their target, and they're going to continue to miss their target, largely because their target has to be 12,500 homes every single month if we are going to reach that $1.5 million housing target. And they're not going to do it. So the government has started to count all sorts of other homes as part of their count, such as long-term care beds, student dormitories, and pretty soon I think they'll be counting tents. And of course we know that a tent is not a home, Speaker. We know that everybody in Ontario deserves a home. We can all think about the way we feel about our homes, how we feel safe in our homes, how we gather with our families in our homes, and every single Ontarian deserves to have that, Speaker. And I want to just finally wrap up by saying affordable housing is something that we have to get behind. It is not optional anymore. Governments have to be partners and leaders in this sector, without which it cannot get done. Thank you.
And now for events and jobs in the community. The Center for Learning and Development invites you to participate in the Ask Series event, Youth, Race, and Faith in Toronto's Regent Park with Aditi Mehta. This event will take place on May 9th from 6 to 8 p.m. at 540 Dundas Street East. For more information, contact Soraya at tccld.org. Songs from the Journey, free community tickets available. While quantities last, tickets are limited to 4 per person. The event will take place on Friday, June 21st, 2024 at Corner Hall. Pick up a Daniel Spectrum from Tuesday, May 14th to May 18th, 2024. Toronto Community Housing Our Space is your ideas. Tenants can book a TCHC common space for community events or programs. Types of bookings include private events, one-time bookings, and recurring events. For more information, contact Felicia White at 416-356-7603. Regent Park Café is open from 9 to 8 p.m. Monday to Friday. Open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner at 585 Dundas Street East, Daniel Spectrum. TCHC and Tridel are calling all small businesses owners in Regent Park. Are you a Regent Park resident with a small business? Do you offer catering, photography, create handmade goods, or other goods and services? Join their small business directory and get connected to businesses opportunities in the community. If you have questions, email csr@tridel.com. And that's all for events and jobs in the community. Hope to see you there.
And that's all for today's show. My name is Lawrence, and my co-hosts are Kedar and Fred. We also like to thank our team of researchers that contributed for this week's show and from our studios located at Focus Media Arts Center. Thanks for watching, and see you next week.
Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And please follow our social media platforms. For more information, check out our website.